my line of work, I've come across a lot of clients who potentially want to develop cluster housing developments. And I do understand the appeal of that development, but I've also gone shopping just to see what's in the market and see what there is to offer. And I've come across a lot of mistakes that I feel designers and clients need to watch out for. The first thing, this really goes after the designers, orientation is key. The first thing I do whenever I get to any site or any place is to pop up my campus and, just see where's the sun, what's the orientation. Why is this important? Because the orientation will greatly affect the quality of the thermal comfort in the house. You don't want to live in a house that's cold in winter and hot in summer. You want it always to be the opposite. You always want to feel comfortable thermally in the house. So what usually happens is when you do duplex units, you end up having to mirror a particular design that's obviously, I do understand where that is coming from. It's coming from an economic point of view of the construction industry. But then at the same time, when you mirror a layout, you essentially lose the benefits that you have created. For example, if you had created a north-facing living space, when you mirror that living space will become south-facing, which is detrimental. So worst case scenario, one of the units is great, the other one not so great. Worst case scenario, you get the orientation totally wrong and the whole place doesn't work. So I feel of paramount importance is to actually look at the site and see what the opportunities are before you drop in a couple of duplex units that actually don't work in some scenarios. The other thing I would like to talk about is the enigma around privacy with regards to cluster developments. One of the common things that people raise their concerns or raise their nose up at when clusters become the subject of discussion is the issue of privacy. And I feel that also can be mitigated from a design standpoint. For example, I've been to a cluster unit where the designer actually had no clue on how to interface private spaces and public spaces. There was a master bedroom sliding door that opened literally to a parking slot that was used by people in the complex. So that defeats the whole purpose of having, a master suite that opens, into a little private garden, as would normally would be. So understanding issues of privacy, where do people put their laundry? How far are the living spaces from each other? Where do people park? What's the backyard like? So all of those issues, I feel they will definitely go a long way in making the living experience of a cluster development much better. And in return, the developer or the client can get good return on investment, on them creating those spaces. Because typically also what happens is clients may be misled to overinvest, and in the end they'll struggle to get their money back. So there's always that idea of understanding the economics of cluster development units. While you want to do modular stuff that helps you replicate and copy and paste things around, it also has to be done in a way that the end user of the space definitely gets to enjoy it. The other thing I struggled to reconcile is how there are certain spaces that are designed to make as 3-bedroom units, for example, for argument's sake. And it doesn't get better than that. That's all there is to it. I think as designers, it's important to interpret the client's needs. Where are they coming from when they're saying 3 beds? Are they saying 3 beds from a point of, if I build a 3-bed for this much an amount, I'll be able to do it? Or it's coming from a place of, I'm targeting a particular demographic. So a 3-bed unit would work for that kind of target market. One thing to understand is having 3 bedrooms is one thing, but having a 3-bedroom unit with a study that can be converted into an office or a guest bedroom in the worst case scenario, that definitely is a plus. And I'm sure that kind of setup will fetch more value for the client, and also will allow the user to have much more choice and options in terms of how they actually utilize the space. So it's very, very important to create spaces that are versatile. I've seen people do open plan living concepts for living spaces. For example, your lounge, your dining, and your kitchen. But oftentimes the case is the lounge and dining space, they are so tiny. I guess that points back to the economics. As a designer, I feel it doesn't have to be a tug of war where the economics wins over the usability and the user experience. I feel there has to be a balance, and there's definitely ways that one can achieve all of that. The last thing I want to talk about is materials and construction techniques. One of the key things about designing a cluster development is that this is definitely an expensive undertaking, and it's important as the design decisions made to create and utilize techniques that do not result in scenarios where there is need for consistent maintenance work to be done. That's costly on the part of the client. That's also costly and very uncomfortable for the end user to have people coming to the house all the time to do repairs. One of those scenarios is, for example, with waterproofing, leakages. Sometimes it can go down to something as simple and basic as flooring issues. It can be a plumbing issue. One of the things we do in our studio is to try by all means to hide all plumbing work and put them in a duct. In the event that there is an issue to be sorted, there's no need for any of the existing infrastructure to be destroyed to access possible places where there could be, issues or blockages and things of that sort. So thinking ahead and, thinking about the serviceability and the lifespan of development is something that's also important, because those things do come as hidden unplanned costs on the part of the developer. So those are the 5 things I feel could be done better, and designers can work better to give the clients value for their money. And I also feel for developers, they get a good bargain out of it. They don't break the bank, but they also get good returns on it. So yeah, that's about it from me today. Thanks a lot for listening. Cheers.